What is good, everybody? Welcome to the show. I don't know what we're calling this. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but we're here. We are live. And Levin, we are enjoying a victory by our San Francisco 49ers, who are advancing to the NFC Championship game for the third time in 4 beautiful years.
Got one thing to say to you, Rob.
And what's that?
Cheers.
Oh, well done, everybody. Just want to remind everybody, please hit the like and subscribe button. Again, this is new territory for me on the YouTube page. Obviously, see, I don't even have a cool background up yet on the stream, which I actually forgot about. That's my bad. But please hit the like and subscribe buttons. I don't know where we're going to be, but I promise you we are going to be somewhere. We are not deserting you in the middle of an incredible run by the 49ers. Thank you, everybody, for hopping in. I love the comments. David on YouTube, we want stats. We want stats. See, no one's asking for you, Levin.
Yeah, what the heck, David Collins?
Nick Ellert, I want to say this. He says, look at the support for our boy Rob. I just want to say this quick before we break down the game, because I know that's what everybody really cares about. I was blown away by how many people messaged me, DM'd me on Twitter, or messaged me. You guys know this was a awful week for me. I was laid off and I was really in a bad place. And I got so many messages from all of you. And I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, you have helped me so much through this. And you too, Levin. I just want to say thank you, because this could have been a really shitty week for me. And you guys helped a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, I guess it is what it is. I mean, it's came so far out of left field that I don't even know if I'm with SB Nation, because they've not said a single word to me yet. We don't have anybody to put together the shows. So yeah, it is what it is.
D Sandyman 2 on my Twitch page says Levin would never abandon us. That's true. All right. Thank you, everybody, for the nice messages in the chat. Really. But we can talk more about that later, but let's get into the game, because the 49ers, Levin, are in their third NFC Championship game in 4 years. Like I said, different game for the 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
Not the offensive, domination that we have seen. I'm going to make that topic bar red. It looks better. Not the offensive domination that we have seen. Only 2 touchdowns scored in the entire game. And the Niners, this was like old school Niners a little bit, like Garoppolo playoff era Niners.
I mean, we sort of got one prediction correct.
Which was
31 points for the 49ers. There were 31 points total.
Man, it was rough for a lot of this game.
This was, yeah. The run game, not there. They kind of came in towards the end, but most of the game, non-existent. The offensive line pass blocking, not there, especially in the first half. Purdy couldn't get time. I mean, they were even rolling him out and trying to get him time. But it certainly seemed like to me in the first half, Dan Quinn knew what Kyle was going to do. That our defensive line and linebackers for the Cowboys were at the snap doing exactly what they needed to thwart whatever Kyle was doing. That included, if Debo was in the backfield, Parsons didn't rush the passer. He broke off a pass rush to go after Debo. That shut down the Debo screens. You saw other times when they were trying to run that it just seemed like the linebackers were right away knowing exactly where it was going. I think Dan Quinn was able to kind of create a game plan that really worked in that first half. In the second half, I think you saw more just the physicality of the Niners taking over.
Yeah, I thought that Dallas, their defense came to play in a huge way. The Niners had 312 total yards, which from what they were doing is a lot lower. They're off the edge. Micah, and they were so fast. It was crazy. Brock Purdy, I don't know the actual numbers because I haven't seen it yet. It felt like Brock Purdy was under pressure literally every pass attempt, at least in the first half. It was wild.
Right. And I think to me, this of all games kind of confirms to me Brock Purdy. He's the real deal. Maybe he doesn't go elite, but he certainly deserves the chance to show it, whether or not he can, because this was a game that basically had no support. Run game, non-existent. Pass rush in his face all game. This is the type of game that the previous quarterback would have had multiple turnovers. Let's call it what it is. He would have been sacked left and right. Like there were a lot of those pass rushes that Purdy was able to get rid of the ball, actually throwing it away, that would not have happened. And I think this showed that even when things aren't going right and he's got guys in his face, he's not going to destroy the game plan and force things. He's going to get what he can get. And on the plays that he can't get anything, he's going to buy as much time as he can get and then get rid of the ball if he has to. I mean, he still had, it wasn't he didn't have the big touchdown or anything, but he had decent stats. And in a game where nothing is working, to be able to still be accurate, still complete over 60% of your passes, get over 200 yards. I mean, that's a big difference from what we've seen any other quarterback in this regime be able to do. Muted. The number one for this one.
Damn it. I'm not even drinking right now. Gameplan.exe, watching on my Twitch page. We're the best second half team in the league. You mentioned Brock, 19 of 29 in the game, 214 yards and no turnovers, which obviously was huge. And that's a good point, right? Like Garoppolo's bad games were turnovers. This quote unquote bad game from Brock, 0 turnovers. He did have a couple turnover worthy plays. They got lucky, I think a little bit, but you know what? Luck is sometimes better to be lucky than good. So good on Brock. I thought he made a couple of big time throws. I thought the Niners had 2 huge drives in this game. Obviously, the drive that ended in the Christian McCaffrey touchdown, but also the drive after that ended in the field goal by Robbie Gould. As bad of a job as I thought Kyle Shanahan did in the end of the first half, I thought he did an awesome job. They got the ball with 11 minutes and 3 seconds left. They had a 13-play, 64-yard drive when they absolutely had to have it and took up 8 minutes of game time. They didn't get the touchdown, but I thought the key thing on that drive was chewing up time, and Kyle did it, and I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, that was the drive that they started the second half with against the Seahawks. That was a 13-play drive as well, with 11 runs, where they just physically took over the game. They said, we're going to be able to make enough of a hole to get 5, 6, 7 yards at a time, and we're going to keep running it, and we're going to punch you in the mouth. And that's the physicality really finally took over. At that point, I think the Cowboys had been running around a lot in that game, and I think they were starting to get a little tired, and that was enough for the 49ers offensive line to kind of swing it. They were able to run in the fourth quarter. Previous 3 quarters, they didn't run at all.
That is true. And look, I don't know, Peyton Manning said second half adjustments are the biggest myth in sports. I don't know. It sure seemed like the 49ers played a hell of a lot better in the second half. They had the punt on the first drive, 3 plays, 1 yard, which was super frustrating because Ray McLeod had an incredible kick return to make up for his fumble earlier, and they didn't do anything with the ball. But after the defense held Dallas again, Niners go 10 plays, 91 yards in 6 minutes and punch it in to get the touchdown that would put them up 16-9 in the game. This team, we've said it all year, they can handle any kind of game, shootout, grind it out, running game, whatever has to be done. This team can do it, and they proved it again today, and that's why they're going to Philly for the NFC title game.
What was your favorite moment? Because I got my favorite moment. Literally, I was laughing.
The Kittle catch. How is it not the Kittle catch? That was incredible, man.
You know what my favorite moment was? And I was literally giggling in my living room.
When there was a holding penalty on Kittle and he was giggling on the field?
No. Literally the last play when they decided it was a good idea to have Zeke Elliott be the center. And immediately upon the snap, the defensive lineman, I'm not actually sure which defensive lineman it was lined up right over him, just pancaked the crap out of him. And if Dak hadn't thrown it when he did, he would have been getting sacked. It's like, it's different. Like, could Zeke maybe buy the couple seconds needed if he was starting from his running back position where he gets kind of like a run up? Yeah. But when you're the center, like, you're at a disadvantage because you have to lean over to hike the ball. And I think that hurried everything up. Was it Aziz? Yeah, that's even worse. It wasn't even defensive lineman.
I mean, that Dallas play, like, I was nervous. They called a timeout. Good job by the Niners, by the way. Call the timeout there. Huddle up, remind everybody, get everybody on the same page. That's awesome. And then all this, build up, they throw the play, it gets completed once, and it's immediately tackled, game over.
It wasn't actually what I thought. Like, they lined up like that. My wife was like, what are they doing? And I said, I think what they're going to do is they're going to do a screen to one side with the 3 offensive linemen. And then the moment that they can't go any further on that side, that must be the wide receiver who can throw the best. And he's going to throw it all the way to the other side where there's 2 offensive linemen in front of a receiver. And they're going to hope that there's only 1 or 2 defenders left on that side. Like that actually seems like a decent plan. Try to run a screen, as good of a plan as you can have, needing 76 yards on one play. You know what I mean? Like run a screen to one side and then bomb it all the way over to the other side on a lateral where you also have offensive linemen in the front.
Well, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but whatever the case, it didn't work. And just about everything worked in the second half for the 49ers in this game. And we got to give love to the defense. I mean, good Lord. There's a lot of talk about maybe they're not as good as they were before, and they've been giving up a little more points. And no matter what happened, this defense makes a play when they have to make a play, whether it's Jimmy Ward tipping a ball into the hands of Fred Warner, whether it's they give up that big 50-yard completion to CeeDee Lamb and then shut the Cowboys down after that. They make plays, and it's not just Bosa all the time or Warner. It's everybody.
Bosa didn't do much in this game, honestly.
Bosa was held without a sack in this game. Yeah. He had some pressures, but the Cowboys did a pretty good job of kind of getting the ball out. But, man, this defense deserves a ton of love.
And let's give love to the guy who stepped up, I think, the most from where he was in the regular season, and that's Lenore. He had another interception. He has been playing a lot better in the playoffs, and that was what was needed. Like, if he was the liability that he had been, Cowboys probably win this game because they would have been able to get another touchdown or 2.
And shout out to Talanoa Hufanga. And I know as Sign Mitu, sorry if I mispronounce your name. I'm terrible with names. But, man, Hufanga had a couple of plays twice in this game. He times out the snap count and completely blows up the play, just totally destroys it. And we got good Hufanga in this game.
Yeah, he did have a few plays, like the person said, where he kind of missed a tackle, but nothing that was damning, nothing that outweighed the plays that he did make. He had a couple plays where he was in coverage that he got. I don't know if he technically got the break up, but he was there to break it up and affected the play. And then, like you said, the timing. That one play when he had Dak dead to rights. Technically, I guess that would be a missed tackle for him.
Yeah, but still
I mean, he was what made that play be a 3-4 yard loss.
Absolutely. And, again, he did miss some tackles, but I want to give him some love because when he's right, he changes the way the game is played. And he was an all-pro this year, and I said I didn't think he should be an all-pro, but you know what? He was closer to all-pro than dud in this game, and I want to give him love for that. Bay Marin, Robbie Gould was gold. I mean, what the hell were the Cowboys thinking, sticking with Brett Maher? How many times did that come up during the game? And I just kept thinking, like, my God, I'm so glad that we do not have to worry about it. We've got Robbie Gould, who's never missed a kick in the playoffs in his life.
You shut up.
I said it on the radio earlier this week when I still had a job.
No, they literally put it up. His first kick of the game, they put up both his extra points and his field goals being perfect in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
I hate you right now.
You got to figure it was only a matter of time before they did that. But, hey, you know what? I didn't have to worry about it. So, and the Cowboys had to worry about it. And that first kick by Maher, by the way, the one that was blocked by Ebukam, if that wasn't blocked, he wasn't coming anywhere close. That was a shankopotamus, man. He missed that.
We got players tweeting already. I figured there's going to be quite a few Niners chirping at the end of this game because of the way the Cowboys were all, Eric Armstead has tweeted, they wanted who?
Yeah, that's right. Dak said, we wanted the Niners in this game. Cowboy fans, after last week, we wanted the Niners. Yeah, well, you got the Niners, and you got one touchdown, and now you got a seat on the couch while you watch us play in the NFC Championship game next Sunday. And by the way, Niner graphs, yes, I did change the background during the show. Production value. I'm getting it together piece by piece here.
Here's an interesting factoid. Brock is not the first Brock to be drafted in the 6th round or later to make the conference championship in his first season starting. That seems wild to me. There's 4 quarterbacks that have done it. Made the conference championship, being drafted in the 6th round or later, and in their first year as a starter. Tom Brady, Kurt Warner, Dieter Brock
Oh,
and
God.
Brock Purdy.
Like the fact that you felt compelled to get that in here, like really, it bothers me.
Hey, when else is Dieter Brock going to get a shout out?
I don't know, but come on, man. You really think he's watching?
No, but it does show Purdy is the 4th quarterback ever to do it. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, I guess whether Dieter Brock was a rookie or not, but Purdy and Warner, I believe, were rookies when they did it. Well, I guess maybe Warner wasn't, now that I think about it. So Purdy might be the first rookie to do it.
Edgar on Twitch says Armstead was scared to crush Dak in the end zone. Should have been the end of the game. I thought of that too. I mean, he's right there. And all of a sudden, I mean, he contacted Dak. So it's like, dude, if you're going to hit him, if you're scared, then don't hit him. But if you're going to hit him, drill him.
Yeah.
Legally, of course, legally.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing because even if you just like dive for his midsection, if you miss, it's the same result as what you did.
Right.
So like you got to try to hit him. Yeah, I wasn't too happy at that moment. I was worried that was going to come back to bite him and it was going to be like a twofer for the Eli Mitchell running out of bounds and Armstead just deciding not to hit the quarterback at the end of the game.
By the way, Michelle is texting me now and texting me feverishly during the game. Bosa is getting held on every play. I got nervous texts from Michelle at like
welcome
10
to
o'clock
2019, Michelle.
10 o'clock in the morning, Michelle is texting me. Oh, I'm nervous. I don't like it. How do you feel about the game? We have converted her, Levin. We have converted her to a 49er fan.
I don't know if it was we. I don't really interact with Michelle a ton. That's all you. That is all you. But yeah, this was, I would have to say it would take some time to reflect to know exactly how far up it goes. But this has got to be one of the all-time nerve-wracking games because it was close the entire way.
Man.
And there was so much writing on this because you beat them last year. There was so much talk.
Yep.
You know the Cowboys fan base is never going to shut the heck up if they win it. Like the amount of pressure I felt and nerves I felt throughout this game is up there with any.
Thanks to everybody, by the way. I should say Jason Waltz, the best defense one. You're right on that. A lot of people talking about super chats. I appreciate that. My YouTube channel is not big enough yet. I can't turn super chats on. We're not eligible to monetize yet. So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend, tell all your friends, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we can get that going. But I appreciate so many people asking about it. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to get you some super chats. Kind of give you,
would.
You a little bit there. I don't know if you want me saying, but it'd be nice to get super chats that we see.
Stephen Garrett watching on YouTube. Stephen A. Smith is about to have a heart attack from happiness. How about them Cowboys? Man, I said it before the game. They did his interview with Dak about how he was really putting a lot of pressure on himself, and he rewatched the post-game presser from last year before the game. And the
that
way
told me everything. By
the way he blew up at Maher on the sidelines last week, I think Dak was in his own head. I think he was feeling the pressure a little bit. There were
that whole team.
Yeah, there were two people for Dallas that I thought that was the case for. One was Mike McCarthy. You saw how he managed the end of the game. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Mike McCarthy is a potato. He's a potato. He can't do the job. It's a management job, and Mike McCarthy can't do it. And Greg Olsen, credit to Greg Olsen, because he was all over this on the broadcast. He is so good. Dallas gets stopped, and they need to punt just before the 2-minute warning, and they had no urgency on it. The 3rd and 10 play happened with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. And they didn't punt the ball until 2 minutes and 5 seconds left. So they let all that time run off the clock, which was a crusher because they needed the Niners to have to run multiple plays before the 2-minute warning. And they didn't do that. And it just goes to show again, McCarthy is not good with details. He's not.
Put it this way. Give the Cowboys 30 extra seconds there at the end. Changes everything. Like, they got a legitimate amount of time to go down and drive the field. They can run their normal offense. And instead they were desperate. They had to run, plays that you don't want to run. They're in your bag, like that last play. You never want to run that play. You designed it, but McCarthy never wants to have to call that play.
By the way, Wetbridge and others are reminding me, subscribe on Twitch as well. YouTube and Twitch, please. Thank you very much. If you want to support me, support the show. And I got to be honest, people, like I'm still getting my legs out from under me, or under me, I should say. So I'm not up and running yet. I got to learn all this stuff too. But if you know anybody, again, please tell them to like, tell them to subscribe. Really do appreciate it. Mike McCarthy is a potato. Kyle Shanahan was driving me crazy at the end of the first half of this game. The Niners got the ball back, and I'm thinking, all right, Dallas gets the ball first in the third quarter, but we got a little bit of a chance here. We maybe can do a little something. Minute and 15 left, 2 timeouts, ball at the 28-yard line, and Kyle goes, run, and then doesn't call a timeout until there was 30 seconds left on the clock. And I was sitting there like, this is old Kyle. This is Kyle when Garoppolo was the quarterback. Do you think he looked at it like, hey, we just got a huge interception that stopped the Cowboys from maybe getting points on the board. I know they're getting the ball first. Let's not do anything stupid, and let's just try and run this thing and maybe take 1 or 2 shots to see if we can get points, but first priority being kill the rest of the first half?
I think he looked at it more as my offense isn't working. Cowboys know what I'm doing. I just want to get to halftime so I can make some adjustments. Because we heard from Staley, like what happens is the offense and the defenses are separated in the locker room. They're going over different things. On offense, it's not a lot of yelling, rah. It's basically, here's the plays, here's what we're changing, here's what we're going to install and utilize in the second half. Here's what we're not. And I think he just wanted to get to halftime and do that, because what he had wasn't going to work. So why give the Cowboys another chance?
Yeah. That's a good point.
By the way, while we're on Kyle Shanahan, he's now passed Jim Harbaugh for second most playoff wins.
That's right. Shanahan is now 6-2 in the playoffs in his career. Jim Harbaugh only got the 5 wins, of course. And man, I've been saying it all week when I was doing the SB Nation NFL show and on Niners Nation pods. Some coaches elevate in the playoffs, and I feel like Kyle is one of those coaches. I know I was complaining about the clock management at the end of the first half, but like I said, 2 other spots in this game, I thought he managed it perfectly, and it's not an accident that the 49ers keep making these playoff runs. There's a reason this stuff happens.
Yeah, one, I want to correct. It's third most because the tweet I read was wrong. Walsh and Seifert are tied for first, or that would make Kyle third, not second. I hate when people do that, by the way.
George Seifert doesn't get enough love.
No, he does not.
Just throwing that out there. How about this stat that's going to blow your mind? The 49ers have not lost in the playoffs before the conference title game since 2002. And yes, I realize a lot of those years they weren't in the playoffs, and so that, kind of can make the stat look better than it is. But man, we are in an era, like, I don't know, when this team gets to the playoffs, they play for the Super Bowl.
Most years. I think there's been 5 playoff years since 2002. Trying to think, did Harbaugh have 2 or 3?
Harbaugh had 3, 11, 12, and 13.
So yeah, it was so it's 6 times. That 2002 year, by the way, has that Giants game that we talked about earlier this week, where we had the famous wild card tackle the guy before the pass even gets there.
Yeah.
And then they lost the next week. But I did see Skip Bayless has already tweeted that the Niners will lose to the Eagles. So I guess we are going to the Super Bowl.
Josh Delgado watching on YouTube. How about this? Apparently Richard Sherman said Cowboys fans were screaming all week that the 49ers haven't played anyone. Well, seems like they still haven't. Well done, Richard Sherman. I like that. I'm not a gloat fan. I don't go in your face and rub it in.
I don't unless you do
talk trash before the game. If you talk trash before the game and you want the smoke, then I'll give you all the smoke you want afterwards.
Yep, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I don't like to get into football conversations out in public. I don't know. It's a weird situation because most often they aren't very knowledgeable, but they want to pretend they are, and it just drives me nuts because you get stuck in this situation where you either have to call them out and correct them on things, and then they're annoyed, and it's just a weird thing. So I avoid conversations with strangers out in public about football.
You avoid people out in public, let's be honest. Unless it's Alex Smith and it's 2 a.m, like that story you like to tell.
It all depends on the situation. If I'm in I don't know, an event, something I'm supposed, actually planned thing, party, whatever, I'm probably the loudest life of the party person. Uh, when I'm out in regular public, just like with a wife and kid, yeah, it's please, I don't want to have to talk to anybody.
Ibra88 watching on Twitch says, I'm watching on both Twitch and YouTube to support you. Damn, that's love. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Has anybody seen anything about a Christian McCaffrey injury? Because he looked a little banged up. Eddie V, how fitting. Media asking for a Christian McCaffrey injury and Tony Pollard gets hurt. You don't joke about injuries. McCaffrey looked banged up to me, and he was only coming in at third downs at the end of the game, and he was getting treatment on the sideline for his calf, it looked like at one point. But
like
I mean,
the wrap on it.
The Tony Pollard injury, massive effect on the game. He's their best offensive player, and him going down in what looked like a gross injury, by the way, that totally changed the game for the Cowboys because they couldn't run the ball after that. They had to give the ball to Zeke Elliott after that, and Zeke Elliott is a shell of what he once was. And against this 49er defense, he couldn't do anything. 10 carries for 26 yards.
So first the joke, so I can get to the serious thing. Skip Bayless said that he's heartsick and calling into work tomorrow.
Stop telling me what Skip Bayless says, man. I don't
know. It's
care.
great because we get a rub in his face. He's so heartsick. He can't go to work. Oh, poor Skip Bayless.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't even
do not
care.
like the guy. But the serious thing is, I really feel for Pollard because I think it's going to be a serious injury and he's a free agent to be.
That stinks, man.
Yeah.
It
certainly seems like a very serious injury.
How about this from Nick Wagner? Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy is now 0-4 against the 49ers in the playoffs. 2 with Green Bay, 2 with Dallas. Have Aaron Rodgers, have Dak Prescott, have Michael Parsons. You can't beat us, Mike McCarthy. Go home. Go home and watch us like the rest of America on championship weekend.
Can a potato watch TV?
I don't know. Let's go, man.
So which quarterback was under more consistent pressure from the pass rush in this game?
Good question.
It's got to be Purdy. Neither weren't getting that much pressure. Which quarterback played better?
Purdy. The end of that game.
So Purdy had worse situation and outplayed Dak. That says a lot.
The end of that game for Dak was bad. He threw a walk-off pick six to Dre Greenlaw that Greenlaw dropped on the first play of their final real possession of the game. Like, could not have hit him in stride any better, and Greenlaw dropped it. Then on the next play after that, he has Michael Gallup deep. I think it was Michael Gallup. Yeah, it was. He has Gallup deep, and he throws it behind Gallup. He throws it to the wrong side, and it was incomplete.
Same with the CD Lamb where he got the penalty and the circus catch. If that's thrown leading him, it's a touchdown. The defender doesn't even have a chance to make a penalty. The only reason why it was a penalty is because he underthrew it and the wide receiver stopped and the defender did not.
Carlo watching on YouTube, Purdy has a better playoff record than Dak. Hell yeah, Carlo. Good call, man. I think Purdy came in. He might have felt some pressure, but I have maintained that I think that Brock Purdy has less pressure on him than people think. Yeah. Nobody has any expectation. If they lost that game, are people going to say, Brock Purdy sucks, he's terrible? No, nobody's going to rip a 7th round rookie quarterback. I think he came into the game like, hey, I just got to do my job, get the ball to the playmakers. And with this defense that played, this was early season 49ers defense that we saw today. And that was enough. He absolutely outplayed Dak Prescott. That's a good call by you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the worst case scenario for Purdy is he plays and people go, well, see, that's why they're going to keep Trey Lance around. Like that's the lowest he can fall. Whereas for somebody like Dak, it's, see, this is why you got to move on from a guy like this. He's never going to be able to win in the playoffs. Like that's what the Dak conversation is going to be all offseason for him now is, do the Cowboys need to move on from him?
Niner Graph says in the end of game interview, Purdy was so nervous with Aaron Andrews. It's the first time all night he looked nervous. I actually didn't see that because I ran down
feels
here.
Great.
Yeah, that would have started a whole big controversy. Who knows? I'm trying to see if anybody sees anything interesting in the post game. Let me know because I'm trying to keep my eye on everything here. I know Kyle was just talking a few minutes ago. I know Levin's not going to listen to me when I talk anyway, so I'm sure you're scrolling through.
Yeah, I can multitask.
And I want to give it up to George Kittle. 5 catches for 95 yards.
Without him, they don't win.
They don't win. And all of Kittle's catches were huge. It felt like every time he had a catch, it just felt like they jump started. And that juggling catch off his hand, off his face, into his hand, and somehow avoided getting crushed on a big hit. That is incredible play from George Kittle. And man, he and Purdy have this connection. They have just stepped it up in the last 7 games. And it's fantastic.
Like what Kittle used to have with Jimmy. that kind of disappeared in recent years. But here's Kyle Shanahan on Purdy. He said he made a number of plays today. By no means was anything perfect for the offense or the whole team.
That's what
it seemed like playoff football.
Well, one thing I thought was interesting. Kyle told the Fox crew that they basically were taking their foot off the gas, that they were going to be conservative. I was stunned when I heard Greg Olsen say it. Kyle basically told them, well, we put up 37 points in 4 straight games. We're not going to be able to do that this week. We're going to have a more conservative game plan. And I was like, what? Like, you scored 37 points for 4 straight weeks. Why would you take your foot off the gas?
Yeah, I mean, stay with what works. I don't know. I didn't hear that part because was that around halftime maybe?
I'm trying to see if I actually wrote it down in my
I had to
notes.
put my daughter down during halftime, and I came back right after the McLeod fumble. So
I think it must have been near the Ray McLeod 53-yard return, because that's when I have it in my notes. I love to listen to the broadcast crews to pick up like those little things.
Yeah, so that's another thing. McLeod finally had his fumble, and it didn't come back to bite him. So good timing on that one.
I knew it, man. But hey, and he had the return right after, so he kind of made up for it a little bit.
That's what they said on the broadcast. That's kind of, as I was coming back down, I heard them say that part of it. I saw him finishing his return as I came down for putting my daughter down. But the other thing that we haven't mentioned is Fred Warner. This was, if you don't believe he's the best middle linebacker in the league, you got no argument anymore after this game on this stage. He literally ran with CeeDee Lamb straight down the field and didn't get a cheat, didn't get a head start. He didn't start 5-7 yards down the field. He was at the line of scrimmage, and yet he was down there to break up, or technically I don't think he gets a break up, but he was right there with CeeDee Lamb, 40, 50 yards down the field?
And he started on the opposite hash, and there's no stat for that. Right. Maybe he got a pass breakup. I don't know. But that doesn't tell you where he lined up and any of that.
I wish Next Gen Stats would come out with this stat, because I think it would be an awesome statistic to see for linebackers. And that would be the average amount of yards run when targeted. So you see what linebackers are consistently further down the field, because they're going to be running more, because they can track that. They have similar stats for other positions. So they can definitely track how far a specific player ran while in coverage.
So are we going to call this the Gold Standard Podcast? Is that
fine by me?
All right, I'll throw.
We came up with the name. I want to keep the name.
That's true. Man, this is weird, but okay.
We called it the Gold Standard Network on Twitter.
That's true. Who knows what it's going to be tomorrow? Andre watching on YouTube. Hufanga wrap up, Armstead wrap up, Greenlaw catch the INT. Look, no one's going to be perfect on every play, but
they allowed 12 points.
Right. I was just going to say that. Literally, this was 12 points. And I know they gave up the big pass play to CeeDee Lamb, but other than that, that was really it. I mean, the longest run of the day was 11 yards from Dak Prescott. The longest catch, other than that big one to CeeDee, the 46-yarder, was 18 by Noah Brown. And that was it. 15-yarder and nothing else over double digits, really. So, I think because the Niner offense struggled so much, we don't realize how good of a day it was for the defense.
I mean, this game, both sides of the ball showed it was a linebacking dominance game, because the Niners couldn't run, because Parsons was getting there every single time. He was playing off ball, so he was off the line of scrimmage, able to get it. And then the Niners, Greenlaw was there, Alshire was there, and Warner was there. Every time they were flowing to the ball. And when you have that much speed in the linebacking core, it's really hard to run the ball, and that's why I think both offenses struggled. is that there was no middle second floor or whatever you want to call it, getting to the second level for the running back. Because when you got to the second level, there were going to be linebackers there to hit you.
And this is a good point from Nick Ellert watching on YouTube. Special teams got a fumble in the red zone and a big kickoff for the Cowboys. So the Niner defense played even better than it looks on paper because it wasn't their fault that those things happened.
That kickoff coverage has been suspect the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah. Seahawks almost broke it a couple times. The Cowboys did break it, and Gold had to get the tackle.
When I'm sitting there and I'm hoping every kick goes into the end zone, I was like, oh, man. But you know what? Like the defense, they're so underrated. It's crazy to say that they're underrated because they're the number one defense in the league, but I really think that they are. They don't, like we talk about Brock being poised. This friggin' defense is poised, man. A lot of teams give up a touchdown after that Ray fumble. Not the Niners. They always say we only need a blade of grass, and they prove it every week.
I mean, they're the best defense in the entire league. That's not debatable. They're certainly the best defense left in these playoffs. Like, it's mostly offensive teams now left in the playoffs. By the way, 3 of the final 4 teams are the same as last year. The AFC matchup is identical to last year.
Yeah.
The only team missing is the Rams. Where are you at, Rams?
The Rams out here catching strays. Random Rams fans like, what the hell? John Wednesday Lap. It feels great to see you too. I was worried that the end of Niners Nation would be a really bad omen for the team. Stats is the GOAT. Thank you very much. Look, nothing's finalized yet, but we're trying to put a team together here. Levin, you're in. Michelle is in. I think Vish is in. So I don't know where we're going to be, but we're not going anywhere. So don't worry about that. We have a community here that I've spent 2 years of my life building, and I'm not abandoning anybody. So if that's what you thought.
You built it to record highs that blew away the goals. So
yes.
You're pretty good at this. And hopefully we're able to kind of pretty much just pivot and make a similar thing on our own. Like I think that's what our goal is to try to keep it pretty similar and give you the same content that you guys were loving and listening to and downloading and watching at record levels.
2.7 million downloads in 2022. That was more than double the 1.3 we had in 2021. James watching on YouTube says stats with the families are going to be a podcast to download. Not right away. Still some things to work out with SB Nation. So not right away. I'll see. I got to get a computer. First of all, I'm using my wife's work computer to do this stream today. So, because I got locked out of the one from SB Nation. So we'll figure all of that stuff out. Let's get back to some football. Debbie watching on YouTube, still too close for comfort, but that's the playoffs. Yeah, there are no more style points here. Okay. Survive and advance. That is it. There are no style points. Who cares? Like during the regular season, it's like, well, the defense let up a lot of points. Forget it. One more point than the other team, no matter how you get there.
Yeah, I mean, just win. You know, the Steelers Raiders saying, just win.
Al Davis on us. Just win, baby.
Just win. That's all I care about. Like, and that's especially true once you make the playoffs, because I've watched 2 losing ones, and I wasn't really watching when they won their last one. So I've never gotten to enjoy watching one and truly feel it in the moment.
Leonardo watching on YouTube. Count Brazil on your side and let's go to the Super Bowl. We got a whole country on our side, Levin. We're international. I love it.
Yeah, go Brazil.
G Double watching on Twitch. Lenore has had an interception in 2 straight playoff games, and he was a stud against the Seahawks. And, D'Amico said it last week, and you brought it up on the pod, and he's right. You could, if you were Diamandor or Lenore, get down on yourself and think I'm the weak link, blah, blah, blah. Or you could look at it like, hey, if they're coming at me, I've got opportunities to make plays, and Lenore has made them. I mean, Dak shouldn't have thrown it, but Lenore caught it.
I mean, and he broke on it 2 full steps earlier. Like, he knew that play. Yes. And that's a credit to him. That's film study. That's recognizing what it is. Because if he was wrong and he broke on it like he did, that receiver's wide open. You can't break on that unless you know. And credit to him. He knew, like, that was a big moment.
Dak, man. If I was doing a Cowboys show, I would be hammering Dak Prescott
Oh, yeah.
today.
2
Absolutely.
interceptions, wasn't a
Yes.
difference maker. You know, he is paid top dollar to be the guy that overcomes in a game like this, and yet they scored 12 points.
And it's not like his interceptions were like, well, his hand got hit as he was throwing. None of that. Just awful decisions right to 49ers defenders. Credit them. They made the catches. This team, don't forget, tied with the Steelers for the most interceptions in the league this season. So this is what they do. Johnny Robinson on YouTube. Hit that like button, folks, and subscribe. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please subscribe on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. We'll probably be here for another week next week. We'll definitely be here. I don't think I'm going to get another job in a week, but so we'll be here. So please hit the like and the subscribe. MFam. Go ahead.
This is seeing this by CBS Sports. This will not be the first Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy face-off. They played in a bowl game against each other. Or no, sorry. The Oklahoma Sooners with Hurts, his final year of college, defeated Purdy in Iowa State. They would have both been Big 12, I guess.
You think they defeated Purdy in Iowa State?
It's the Sooners in their heyday with Lincoln Riley and versus Iowa State. But Purdy had 200 and that can't be right. I think. Oh no, never mind. I misread it. They won 42-41, not 42-21. Purdy had 6 total touchdowns in that game.
There you go. Oh, damn, that's what I get. MFam watching on Twitch. Where is Michelle? I don't know. She was traveling. I think she went to the bar. No, she was working at one point. I don't know if she went to
go get orange juice, probably.
For the mimosa. That's right, Mimosa Michelle. Yeah.
She did disclose to me when we were talking earlier this week with everything happening that she loves that nickname.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she definitely. And we were just sad we couldn't get the chance to do it on the official pod, but don't worry, we'll do it on ours. By the way, for anyone wondering, Aaron Byrne watching on YouTube says, who's running the NN Twitter page now? So we had the @NN Podcast Twitter handle. It is now @GS Podcast for gold standard. So @GS Podcast if you want to follow us there. Not going to lie, Levin does most of it. Thank you very much, Levin. Stepping up.
I guess the cat's out of the bag now. Been able to hide behind that for a while. Everybody always assumes every tweet is yours. And I've literally had people respond to something I tweeted, good one, Rob, or something along those lines. It's
just like, the good tweets are mine.
Just so you know, not him, but I'm happy to sit and hide.
ASDF watching on YouTube. Good point. Shout out to D'Amico Ryans for declining 2 interviews to help us win. He met with Denver and Houston, I want to say. I can't remember if those are the 2 teams.
So I put this out there. Did he really cancel on the Cardinals and I forget the other team, but he canceled on 2 of them because he didn't want to interview the day of a game, or the reports were that the Houston Texans interview was very in-depth and went extremely well. Does he have a job in hand? And so he canceled. And they're just not going to announce it until the Niners are done.
That was my first thought. Either he has a job or he's not taking a job and he's staying and he knows it. I think it's one of the 2.
Right. And either way, good for him.
Brandon Lee Gowden watching on YouTube, my old partner at SB Nation and who runs Bleeding Green Nation, by the way, bleedinggreenNation.com, the Eagles community, the Eagles community at SB Nation. Couldn't do a better job. Says LOL Cowboys. That's what you got to feel like if you're a Cowboy fan.
Now, is he going to come back next week to say LOL Eagles?
I hope so. Well, I doubt he will be in a laughing mood if that were to happen. But I came into this game as confident as I have ever been in my entire life as a 49er fan that the Niners were going to win. I actually thought they were going to blow them out. I didn't give the defense enough credit, but I thought the combination of the way Kyle was calling plays, the way Brock was not only taking care of the football, but gouging people offensively and the defense, I thought the Niners were absolutely going to kill them. And I thought also the Cowboys are going to do dumb stuff. And they started getting more penalties. Remember, in the first game last year, the Cowboys had 14 penalties in the wild card game. They had the referee crew for this game was Bill Vinovich, who called the least amount of penalties in the NFL. And Dallas still ended up with 7 for 50 yards in the game. So I knew the Cowboys.
And they had a couple crucial ones. The defensive holding there, which, granted, if it wasn't a defensive holding on Kittle, then it would have been a touchdown because Kittle was literally running past. I think it was the safety who was literally not even turned yet, so he just grabbed him. But yeah,
Shout out to MFam on Twitch, by the way, and a couple other people on YouTube saying D'Amico
Indy,
canceled Arizona and Indy. Yeah, do not go to Indianapolis, D'Amico Ryans. Under no circumstances should you go coach that dumpster fire.
We're gonna get off topic, but I don't think it's a dumpster fire. It just doesn't have a quarterback.
Oh, I think it's a dumpster fire. BLG again says Eagles 49ers is going to be a good one. Hell yeah, it's going to be a good one.
It's an interesting one because nobody knows what to expect because they haven't played each other since the Eagles rose this year. So there's no like, what are they going to be able to do to each other? You don't know.
I don't even want to like think about that yet. We'll get there.
We're going to say that.
We're going to do some more shows. We'll do some more live streams and stuff. I just want to enjoy this. Again, the Niners haven't lost before the conference championship game since 2002. We're playing for the Super Bowl next week. Levin, how many times have I talked about in order to make the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl, so many things have to go your way. Not only do you have to have a really good team and a really good coach, you have to have injury luck. You have to have fumble luck, turnover luck, interception luck, schedule luck, other teams' injury luck. You have to have all of that stuff to go your way to even have a chance to win a Super Bowl. And like none of that stuff has gone the 49ers' way this year. This is not supposed to be a year where you play for the Super Bowl. This is supposed to be a, shucks, you know, it just didn't happen for it. The football gods didn't smile on us kind of year. And we're still here.
I think the best example of sometimes you got to get lucky is the Kittle catch. 3-4 bobbles. I thought when it went off his face mask, oh God, it's getting intercepted. And then instead he catches it at the last second before the safety's able to get it. That is the difference sometimes. Those are the type of things that you need to go your way. And by the way, Brock Purdy on that play said it seemed like it was 10 seconds of bobbling. I was like, dude.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when that ball, anytime the ball is in the air off a tip, I clench up naturally. And it was so huge that he pulled that down because they really struggled to get anything going offensively. It felt like it was such a slog. The longest rush of the day was Elijah Mitchell, 13 yards. Was that the one where he went out of bounds at the end of the game?
It was.
God, Elijah. And then the longest catch, Kittle had a 31-yarder. That was the longest catch. Other than that, they really didn't pop a lot of big plays. That was the only, there was one other catch, over 20 yards, and it was to Jawan Jennings. They were not gashing the Cowboys like they gashed the Seahawks last week. And so Kittle hanging on to that pass changed everything.
There were a couple times when, like we said, the run game was not there. There were a couple deeper passes, 20, 30-yard passes that they were able to get. And I think that was a big part of this game is that they were able to get a big chunk play when they needed it. And that got them the field goals that they needed. You know, they didn't get in the end zone but once, but they were able to get some big pass plays that got them enough points.
And like you said, the quote unquote bad game is a touchdown drive, and no turnovers for Brock Purdy in the offense. Absolutely massive. Did you see this, by the way, Janet watching on YouTube? Kittle's a stud. Bigger Stooley, Kittle or Kyle Shanahan? Did you see Kyle Shanahan wear the Pardon My Take hoodie the other day at the press conference?
Yeah.
Not a fan.
No.
Not a fan. Kittle wants to wear it, whatever. But Kyle, you're the head coach, man. I'm not going to share my feelings on Barstool. Everybody knows my feelings on them. This comment, Tiago,
same way.
On YouTube, Brock Purdy, I'm still focused on the game and what we could have done better. Dude is special and poised. He has gone out there.
Did you see that in the game? They put it up on the screen. Kyle Shanahan said that Brock Purdy is the most poised rookie he's ever coached.
Yeah.
He coached a rookie of the year quarterback.
He said that in a post-game presser a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember after which game that was. But there was a couple plays where it was supposed to be a screen and Micah Parsons blew it up and he just on the fly is just like, all right. And he took the sack and it wasn't like, oh, let me run around. And maybe
I'm not throwing this no matter what, which is what a lot of quarterbacks do. Yeah.
And it does make a huge, huge difference. Another test for Brock, though. Next week, right? Philly's going to be nuts. It's going to be crazy. We saw him playing. Yes, we saw him playing Seattle, but this is going to be a different beast. Like, he may be attacked by a Philadelphia Eagles fan. We have no idea. So we'll see that poise be tested for sure next week.
But I can't remember if it was you that said it to me a couple of weeks ago or somebody else. If you can come out strong, you're going to turn that crowd against its own team.
Yeah, it was me. Yep.
That's the Philly fan base there. You know, they are very quick to say, well, screw you for this crap show.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say 49ers, Ohio. Maybe. That's what I'm going to go with. OH, is that Ohio?
Yeah.
Purdy did a great job remaining collected and not trying to force the ball. I think he had one close call, but he avoided sacks, got rid of the ball when he needed to, and took what he could get. I was screaming at the end of the first half. There's like 7 seconds left, and Kyle's trying to run one more play so that the field goal by Robbie Gould will be the last play of the first half. And Brock drops back, and I'm thinking, all right, he's just going to throw it deep out of bounds, and we're going to be good. And he looks one way, but then he turns another way.
Yeah, buys time.
He throws the ball, and there was 1 second left in the half. Like, he almost used up all the time on the clock and cost them a shot.
If this game was in Dallas, it would have been double zeros. It was one of those borderlines. Like, you could have run 1 extra second off and been just fine. Because, by the way, I think the clock doesn't stop until the ball touches ground.
Yeah, that's right. That's correct.
Yeah. Did the ball touch the ground before the clock stopped? I would have to re-see it because I would bet they stopped a split second early.
You joke about that? Let me tell you, my first job ever was as a scorekeeper at a deck hockey rink. I did that crap all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I shaved seconds off of games. If I wanted to get the hell out of there, it was the last game of the night. You just get real slow at that clock, or vice versa. If you want, you're pulling for another team, whoosh, I'm lightning on that clock, stopping that thing to leave time left in the game. That is a good call by you.
Yeah, I used to run that stuff as well from my high school, and then there was also all of the Purdue scorekeepers for all the basketball games that sit right there on the row. They're all teachers at my high school, so you know them really well. And they would talk about that in class and stuff about how let it run an extra second there. We were up, things like that. It happens.
Bender Rodriguez watching on Twitch. I thought Brock was better this week than last. He made a lot of tight window throws in the second half. That's interesting. He started last week a little shaky. It was raining, whatever. He didn't look shaky in the game. He never looked
There just wasn't anything there.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not, people are going to take it, I think, as a game manager with the way you have to say it, but he just took what was there and he didn't make anything crazy. He didn't turn anything. He didn't do a Mahomes, but only Mahomes can do Mahomes. Maybe Josh Allen as well. But we've even seen somebody like Josh Allen probably would have had multiple turnovers in this game because he does force it. He's not very good at stopping himself from doing that. Purdy didn't try to do too much. He took what was there, and if nothing was there, we saw him multiple times tuck it and get as many yards back as he could before the sack, or throw it away and don't screw it up for your defense.
Yeah, and there's going to be some games like that. Like, I was, at one hand, I was like, oh my God, where's the offense? But then I was like, they're not going to score 37 points every week. Like, that's unrealistic to expect or demand that they score that many points, especially with a rookie quarterback. So, again, they survive in advance. We keep saying it, survive in advance. And Will, watching on my Twitch page, Will Schratt, you don't understand how much I needed this win. I'm a Niners fan in Texas. Send help.
Yeah.
I think I put that on the screen before, but yeah, man, I needed this win too. Because I got to tell you, I needed this win for a lot of different reasons. And the 49ers, once again, have come through for us. And we're playing the Eagles for a chance to win the friggin' Super Bowl.
Yeah. And speaking of low scoring, I would bet that game's not going to have a ton of points. That is two of the best defenses, and certainly I would argue the two best front sevens in the entire league, because I think the Eagles top to bottom have the best defensive line. They have 4 guys that had 10 plus sacks. Yes, the Niners have a good defensive line. I would take the Eagles.
That's never happened before, by the way. 4 guys with 10 plus sacks. Mad Scientist on YouTube. What a game. I tested positive for COVID today and feel like I got hit by a truck. My wife and I cheered for our 49ers. Feel better. I wish you well. That sucks that you're dealing with COVID now, but yeah, like, I know it's a game and all that, but like, I needed the win this week. I got to tell you, I really did. to lose your job and then lose in the playoffs would have been just a double punch to the nuts, to be honest with you.
And that's without mention trying to launch your own network and suddenly it's the off season. that wouldn't have helped
Right.
anything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, a win is good for business, man. Absolutely. Jesse Garcia watching on YouTube. Micah and Bosa had 0 sacks, but once again, our linebackers made all the difference. They don't get a lot of love outside of Warner, Aziz, and Greenlaw. I know Greenlaw had a dumb penalty, but man, he flies. There was one play where he came from the opposite end of the field and chased down Tony Pollard on 3rd down and stopped him from getting a 1st down. He is fast as hell.
And that's really the difference. Like, the Niners have 3 really, really fast linebackers, and they can hit 2. And when you got linebackers that can do that, even if they're not the most disciplined, which Greenlaw is not the most disciplined, there are times that he picks the wrong hole. But when you're that fast and you're big, so you're able to be physical too, it stops so many plays that other teams would have allowed a 10-yard rush on.
Yes, that's totally true. Christian McCaffrey, by the way, after the game, said he talked about his right calf issue. He said, quote, "I was fighting, but made it through great. The calf is nothing bad, all good." Just keep in mind, everybody at this time of year is going to say every injury is nothing bad. Patrick Mahomes' ankle like almost twisted off over the weekend. And it's like, oh no, he woke up the next day feeling great. Yeah, sure he did. So we'll see with Christian McCaffrey, but glad that he at least sounds like is going to give it a go in the conference championship game. McCaffrey on the Kittle catch said, "It's one of the best catches I've ever seen. It's a special player doing special things." And on the NFC championship game, McCaffrey said, "With this team, everything is intense. That was true when I got here, and it's true now. There's more on the line now."
How about this for a stat? You mentioned the potato, which is, I guess, what we're just going to call him from now on.
Mike McCarthy.
That he's lost to the 49ers 4 times, that he's 0-4 against the 49ers in playoffs.
Yep.
That ties the NFL record. Tom Landry lost to the Rams 4 times, and that's the most losses for a coach. So it literally ties the NFL record for most losses versus one team in the playoffs.
Womp. Womp. You earned every one of those losses.
Both of those are Cowboy coaches, by the
way. Wow. Well, there's probably not that many Cowboy fans, if any, in this feed. So feel free to take a couple shots.
I mean, if I was a Cowboys fan, it would have been, I'm tuning out. I'm going to go play video games or something to take my mind off of it, because sure as heck not going to watch Niner fans do a podcast or
that's true.
YouTube. Like, no way in heck.
Hey, everybody grieves in their own way. Okay, Levin. Bevio watching on YouTube. Few things are more entertaining than elaborate last gasp play formations that end in immediate defeat. Thank you very much. That is a good point by you. The Rapture 03 watching on my Twitch page at Stats on Fire. I feel ya. I'm 37 and just got out of the hospital after a massive heart attack. This W was just what I needed. Well, first of all, we are so glad that you are with us, not on the stream. I mean, on the planet. Thank you. 37. I just turned 38 last week. So, man, that hits close to home. Glad you're feeling better.
You're old.
Shut up.
The Rapture and I as 37-year-olds. We're young.
Great. That's great. But glad you're here. And yeah, 49ers, man. I know it's the toy department of life, but it does matter. I'm going to feel good all week now. All week we get another of this. 12 weeks in a row. You've been able to wake up either on Sunday morning or Monday morning, whatever it is, and you have that feeling of we won again. Everybody's talking about you, right? This is the best time, especially in the playoffs. Go to any national football show. Up and Adams with Kay Adams, Pro Football Talk, whatever the hell ESPN, Get Up. Well, that's what ESPN is running. Anything on NFL Network, obviously.
It's not cold pizza anymore.
That's
from your era, probably.
Shut up again. I am old. Never mind. But they're all going to be talking about the 49ers, right? And yeah, maybe some are going to be like, well, they're going to have to score more points against the Eagles. Whatever. They won the damn game, and you're going to hear Brock Purdy outplay Dak Prescott. You're going to hear the 49ers defense is better than the Cowboys defense. You're going to hear about what a good coach Kyle Shanahan is. It is a great time to be a 49er fan this week. Consume it all, by the way, including our shows, which we're still going to have for you.
So when's the last time the Niners had won 12 in a row? Like, it's got to be a while, because I don't think they did in the Harbaugh years. They haven't done it with Kyle Shanahan. When's the last time they won 12 straight? It has to be at least back to the Mariucci time, but I don't think they did it with Mariucci either.
I want to say 94, 9, or maybe 95. 94
Did
had
they?
some weird losses in the Super Bowl year. 95, the 95 team was really freaking good. And it doesn't get a lot of love because obviously they didn't win the Super Bowl. Thanks,
Right.
Packers. But I think it was 95, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Nope.
When was it?
Well, I don't know yet, but 95's longest win streak was 6.
Damn. All right. Well, so basically, you didn't really provide any new information. You just wanted to poop on the information
Yeah.
that I provided.
The 94 team had 10 straight, so they've topped that. I honestly don't. Is this the longest win streak ever by the Niners?
No, it's not because they had a.
They had a
I'm
15-1 season, but
I'm pretty sure it's not. Darth Ball is watching on
14-2.
YouTube. Levin, next time move your head slightly so it doesn't reflect on the poster behind you.
yeah, I need to
Move
get
your
more
fat
lighting.
head over, or just move your light. It's probably a little easier to do.
Yeah, I got to get different lighting in here.
Come on now.
Thanks. Super important right now. Thanks.
Anytime someone tells you did something wrong, you know I'm going to put it up on the stream.
Yeah. So 14-2 year and 92 with Seifert. They didn't win that many in a row.
Think about that. They lost 2 games all year and they couldn't win 12 in a row. Luckadoo on YouTube says late 80s they won 12 straight.
Yeah, they didn't do it in the 1990 14-2. I'm just going back through the years to see it. The 89 year, nope. They had a loss. Like they had their 2 losses that year were like kind of right. They were 6 or 7 games apart, so it split them up too much. I don't know.
Nick Ellert says the 84 season was 1 loss only.
Yeah, I know there's 1 loss season, but when did that 1 loss? I'm there now. Let me look. The 1 loss came there, so they would have won 3. 6.
Well, we'll figure it out.
They won
anyway.
12 straight, including the Super Bowl in that year. So that's probably got to be the tie. They've probably tied the record for most wins in a row by the 49ers team.
Trap Naps on Twitch. Remember not that long ago when this team, quote, wasn't built for making comebacks? We talked about it earlier, but yeah, like think of where we were in the Falcons game. Remember? We got down by multiple scores and we weren't doing hurry up offense. And we're all sitting there like, what the hell's going on? This feels hopeless. Like, what are we doing? And now we're here at the end of the year where not today, obviously, but previous weeks they're scoring 37 points. And it's just a totally different team. It's a complete 180 from where we were earlier in the season.
And it feels so good. It feels so good to be able to, hey, you want to have a shootout? Okay, we're right there with you. Not a, oh crap, this turned into a shootout. We're screwed.
Pal 32 says in 97 there was an 11. All right, I don't want to get caught up in the win streak talk. It's been a while. Let's just say that
11 is not 12. So
Christian McCaffrey talking about Brock Purdy said, I'm not shocked now. It's just who he is. Did you see the article this week from Mike Silver that said it's all over with the shouting? Brock's QB1. I know we got a lot of time to talk about this, but I think it's interesting because if they had lost this game, that whole thing would have been a thing now, but it's not because they won.
Look, I think you responded to me when I sent that to you, saying, you know, oh yeah, and maybe you put it on Twitter. I think it was you said, "Isn't this the team that doesn't have leaks?"
Right.
And that was my initial reaction to seeing Silver's article. But then later in the day, Eric Davis, the former player who's still very much around, and said, "I heard the same thing from a source I have." Well, that a former player being willing to say it, and Mike Silver putting an article out there with sources, at that point, you got to start to think it's more likely than not that is 100% where the team is at, that this is Brock Purdy's team now and next year.
Couple other things are starting to trickle in that I'm seeing on Twitter. I don't know if you noticed this, but Charles Omenihu was in a lot of pain during the game, and he apparently has an oblique injury now. He told Jennifer Lee Chan that he will have an MRI on his oblique tomorrow. That's a big loss if he can't go. He's a huge part of this defensive line.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw the Niners weren't getting much pressure.
Right.
Like they were getting pressure, but they weren't getting hits. You know what I mean? Dak had enough time to get rid of it almost every time. They weren't truly getting to Dak.
It was good enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're nitpicking here, but
Right.
The defensive line wasn't dominant in this game in the pass rush. They did well enough. They affected things well enough, and they were really good in the run game.
Who gets your MVP? Who gets your game ball tonight?
Well, it's definitely got to be a defender, just because, I mean, it's a defensive game. No one offensive player really stood out. I don't even think Kittle got to 100 yards. To me, I probably go Fred Warner. He had an interception, and he was all over the place. He had a lot of big tackles in the run game, which you always know when it's him because he stands up and is letting you know, to put it lightly. But I think it has to be Fred Warner.
He does so much that doesn't show up in the box score every single week. And some people are like, oh, that contract is stupid. He doesn't have a lot of fumbles or sacks or picks. It's worth every penny.
Yeah.
And we saw it today.
There's only, honestly, it was a team. This is so cliche. It was a team effort. This wasn't a game where there was any individual standouts other than maybe Fred Warner. And honestly, this is a game where you could make a legitimate argument because of the way the game went that Robbie Gould is the MVP because he made 4 field goals and an extra point. Like, this is one of those games where there wasn't a ton of, oh, wow plays.
Yeah. That's why I think I have to give mine to Kittle, because he made the only, oh, wow play of the game. It absolutely pumped the 49ers up. He also had another play on that drive where he drew a holding penalty that was a ridiculous. It was such a bad holding penalty that they showed Mike McCarthy's reaction to watching it on the stadium video board, and he was laughing at how bad it was. Like, that ain't happening if it's Ross Dwelly running that route. That's Kittle, man. He made the only wild play of the game. He was juicing up the team, and they needed every little bit of it. And I've said it, and I tweeted it, and I'll continue to say it. Blocking is the second best thing that George Kittle does. Every time they throw him the ball with any sort of volume, he proves it.
Yeah, he does. Like, it is nice to see him back involved. We'll put it that way.
23% of his career touchdowns have come since Brock Purdy became the starter. Career touchdowns. That's my favorite stat of all time, and I didn't even come up with it. Cameron Britton came up with it and tweeted it out last week, and I've been in love with it ever since.
And that he's probably only been the quarterback for George Kittle. Maybe, I'm just guessing here, maybe 8-9% of his games.
Right.
So, yeah.
DG,
like we have said, why is Kittle not involved? Well, we kind of know why now. And it wasn't a George Kittle thing or even a Kyle Shanahan thing, I would argue.
DG Riot watching on Twitch. Subscribe, like on Twitch. By the way, same thing with YouTube. Please, please, please subscribe and like and tell a friend to do the same. DG Riot says Robbie Gould also saved a touchdown on a kickoff return. He did. And he totally sacrificed his body too, because it wasn't like he made a tackle. He basically threw himself in the path of the returner and he got crushed.
He had no other choice. He's not gonna be able to bring down if he tries to go for like a real tackle, it's not gonna happen because the guy's gonna run right through his arms. He's a kicker, he's not.
That's true. Just throw yourself, whatever it takes, right? Like,
because if you throw, I mean, he's a big enough guy. I'm guessing he's probably around 200 pounds. If you throw yourself into him and you hit him squarely, at the very least, you're gonna knock him, ruin his momentum, and somebody will catch him from behind.
Jason Waltz watching on YouTube. D'Amico Ryans also deserves a shout out. Absolutely does. When you hold the #1 offense in the league this year, wasn't it #1 or at least #1 in the NFC?
I know it was #1 in scoring when Dak was healthy. I don't know if they're #1 overall.
Right, yeah, because they had
missed 5 games.
5 games, and Cooper Rush came in. But yeah, you damn well better get a game ball when you do that in a huge spot when your offense did not provide the kind of cushion that they have provided the past 4 weeks.
Yeah, and by the way, we need to get somebody needs to be some journalist needs to be able to follow John Lynch at the end of games, because I did see, I saw on the TV them showing him literally on the last play that he was still up in the press box. But then I saw on Twitter that he was down on the field literally 3 minutes after the game ended, before the players even got off the field. Lynch was on the field. So what's his secret?
His secret is He's still got a little bit of that Hall of Fame speed left in him, I think.
Just leaps out the window or what?
Look, maybe he has some sort of like secret express elevator. I don't know.
That might actually be what it is. I know different sport, but I know the Pacers had a special elevator just for their front office because I was an intern, and there was a special elevator that you could get on that would go to the front office level.
Trap Naps on Twitch says, I noticed that John Lynch teleported. A lot of people going the secret tunnel route. William Adams on YouTube. Carlo Garibay says secret entrance.
Wouldn't it be funny if somehow he has like a hidden slide hidden somewhere where he can slide down? And
there you go. And he slipped it into the construction plans at Levi's before he was ever the general manager there.
It's like inside what you think is a cement block is actually just a chute for Lynch.
A what block?
Cement block.
You mean cement?
Really?
A cement block?
An East Coaster, Mr. Connecticut, is going to lecture me. Cement. Yes. Cement and cement. Two different ways to pronounce it, both highly popular.
Just because it's popular doesn't make it right. JJ00 on Twitch. Diamondor Lenore for MVP. Labeled the weak link and has played anything but. He absolutely has. And I'll say this too. Is it me or does Mooney Ward seem like he's given everybody 15 yards of cushion, whereas Lenore is the one up in people's face?
Yeah, something weird the last two games with Ward.
Right?
It does. It seems like Ward kind of swapped roles. Maybe that's what they decided. Maybe they decided that Lenore will do better in press and Ward is better at being able to do both. So they're going to have Ward play off because the Niners, that's their scheme. One is kind of up front and one backs way off. We saw Sherman. Sherman used to back way off all the time when he was with the 49ers. But maybe that's what they decided is let Lenore push up more and he's better at that role and he'll be less of a weak link.
It's weird because if you look at Mooney Ward's whole career, he's a great press corner. Like that's his thing. That's what he does. That's why they brought him in. I don't know. Maybe something's going on with him physically that we don't know about. Diego Figueroa, John Lynch, he says it's a John Lynch clone. Maybe it's a lookalike that they had up in the booth. Maybe Lynch slips out earlier, and then if they lose or whatever, then he just doesn't show up on the sideline. Maybe that's the plan they got.
I don't know, but that would be a fascinating article to figure out how does he do it.
Oh, looks like someone says here that Mooney Ward was limping. So maybe he does. I didn't notice that. I'm always on the lookout for that stuff during a game. I didn't see that.
I didn't notice it either.
There we go. Permaculture. My bad.
What were you going to say, Mac? What?
What?
Were you going to say permac?
I don't know, but what I said was the correct pronunciation. What I said was the correct pronunciation. Permaculture. So shut up.
I just heard a Mac in there, and I'm like, where's he get? Oh, I guess technically there is a Mac in the middle of that word.
Baba Ganoush, fantastic username. Mooney Ward went to the blue tent in the last 3 to 4 games in the regular season. Yeah, he's been banged up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But again, it's all hands on deck here, as at most we have 2 games left in the football season for the 49ers. At most, we are here again. NFC Championship, 3rd time in 4 freaking years, Levin. Is this the most unlikely of all their trips to the NFC Championship game under Kyle Shanahan?
Ooh, that's a good question, because last year was certainly not expected with the way the regular season went. But yeah, I guess it depends on at what point are you putting your unlikely frame of reference. Because from the start of the playoffs, no, it's not unlikely. They were the 2 seed. I'm not surprised by it. But if you go from the start of the season saying, hey, you're going to be on your 3rd stringer, do you think you're going to the NFC Championship? Then this is absolutely the most shocking.
I don't know how you could say that any other year was more unlikely than this. I mean, they're down to their 3rd freaking quarterback, and it's got to be this one.
He also happens to be the best one of the 3.
But just that is so unlikely.
I know.
And you're right, by the way. It is kind of scary. Yeah. Brian Lee says this year is more unlikely. William Adams asks a good question. Are the Niners on house money or is their best chance with Purdy? It's kind of both, right?
I was going to say yes. That's the correct
I see what
answer.
you did there.
Yes. It is house money because you're on your third string. It's a rookie, seventh rounder, all of that. But at the same time, like I just said, Purdy is the best of any quarterback that Kyle Shanahan has had. So it's also probably their best chance because it's also, I would argue, probably the best defense.
That's a good point. I think it is. Jack, watching in Amsterdam. Great to see you, Rob, watching
Dang.
from Amsterdam.
You
What a
just
gutsy
wake up,
performance.
Jack, or are you just going to bed? Because it's got
Hell
to be,
yeah.
it's at least 5 in the morning in Amsterdam. I'm guessing 6 in the morning. So I'm guessing they're 1 hour different than London.
I got an incredible email from Lee Pincus, who emailed me, who watches in England and is up at like 4 in the morning and for a primetime game, which this was kind of close to a primetime game, watches the instant reaction and sleeps on his couch so he doesn't wake up his wife. That is commitment, Lee. Thank you, man. That's incredible.
Wow.
Mostly to watch me. He didn't really say anything about you.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Just throwing that out there.
Whatever you got to tell yourself. You know what? You need it this week, Rob. I'll let you have it.
That's true. I if you can help me out with the pronunciation on this one, Levin, I could use the help. You
El
can read
Julie OFC.
I don't know, but yes, thank you. This game made me trust Kyle Shanahan again. He was masterful down the stretch in this game, calling plays, running when they needed to run. Like I said, just taking huge chunks of time off the clock. That kind of management in a game with only 2 touchdowns is hugely important. And Kyle seems to get that.
I haven't even looked what was the time of possession in this game because the Niners had a lot of the time of possession in that second half for sure.
In
it's
the
like
second
33 minutes almost for the 49ers.
32-53 for the Niners, 27-07 for the Cowboys. I think like it went back and forth because at one point in the second quarter of this game, the Niners had 1 possession because that flashed up on the screen, I think, or I saw it on Twitter. It came up somewhere and I was like, oh my God. But the Niners evened it out in the second half.
Actually, the Niners had 1 less drive than the Cowboys. Cowboys had 10. So they won the time of possession. I guess that last drive for the Cowboys was less than a minute. So
the Niners went 3 and out on their first drive of the second half. Their next drive, 10 plays, 91 yards, 6 minutes. Their next drive, 13 plays, 64 yards, 8 minutes. So they went fewer yards and they took them longer in 8 minutes. And their last drive was 6 plays, 25 yards, a minute and 20 seconds. But it was a crucial minute and 20 seconds because that drive started with 2:05 left in the game.
You know, I hadn't really dissected these team stats, but goodness, like Dak averaged 5 yards per pass attempt and threw 2 interceptions. He's going to have a rough offseason.
As good as I was saying that this week is going to be for the 49ers, it's going to be that bad for Dak Prescott. But you know what? As we wrap it up here, we don't have to worry about the Cowboys anymore. I don't got to worry about blue anymore right now. I got to worry about green, and that's the Eagles. Joe Collar watching on YouTube. Eagles favored by 2.5 points right now, over under 45.5. Eagles favored at home.
45.5 is actually kind of surprising for one.
Just so
for two, they say 3 points for the home team, so 2.5 is kind of surprising.
I was just going to say that. That means Vegas is telling you that they think the 49ers got a little bit of juice there. Like maybe they might not be the much worse team.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see Brock versus that D-line. 4 defensive linemen, 10 sacks, just so scary.
I agree. It's going to be I thought that I wasn't worried about Dallas this week because I thought like, man, Kyle will scheme around it. He schemes around Aaron Donald. Like, we'll be okay. But man, you cannot scheme around that. And it's funny because a long time ago, Kyle said that he wanted to build the team up from the defensive line out because you can't really fake that. He's basically like, I can scheme guys open, but you can't fake getting pressure with your D line. And maybe you can't totally scheme around it too, because they got all sorts of pressure today. And the Eagles may be able to do the same thing next week.
Yeah, that will certainly be one of the keys, if not the biggest key. The Niners offensive line being able to do well enough against the Eagles defensive line. Now, they're not going to win every matchup. It's too good of a defensive line. There will be plays where there's pressure right away. I would all but guarantee there will be sacks in that game. They just have to hold up well enough and make it to where the Eagles can't only rush 4 and dominate and get pressure constantly. They have to blitz.
Bender Rodriguez watching on Twitch with an interesting note. The implied odds had 49ers -1 a week ago, and it moved to the Eagles this weekend. The Eagles look damn good.
So,
yeah,
to get worse for them.
I could kind of, that's going to be dicey. But I'm not going to, if the 49ers lose next week, I'll be sad, of course, but can't lose to the Cowboys. You just can't, especially on your own field, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, you're losing to the most obnoxious, annoying, arguably the worst fan base on all of sports. Because there are just so many of them, and they haven't done anything in so long. You don't want to be the team that gives them something.
Carlo watching on YouTube, Niners in 6 tomorrow morning. Well, first it was Niners in 5. No, there won't be a 49ers in 5 tomorrow morning, unfortunately, because I don't have a job right now. They laid me off last week, so won't be able to do that for you. I am going to try and get a podcast up and running as fast as possible. Like I said, there's still a few things I need to work out with SB Nation that I'm trying to work out, and hopefully I could get some answers. I was hoping for early this week, so we'll see. Once I get that straightened out, I'll get a podcast up and running as fast as humanly possible. Like I said, I need a computer. Got to get that straight away first, but we will eventually get that figured out. That's my problem, nobody else's. So don't worry.
Disagree.
As soon as we can come back, we will, but we're still going to do shows on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube, at Stats on Fire. You can find me there. Please, please, please smash that like, smash that subscribe button. If you want to leave a review for a show that you want me to read, just DM it to me on Twitter or Instagram, wherever you are. I am there too. I promise you I will read it on the show, or just DM me something mean about Levin and I'll read that too.
Yeah, speaking of reading things, I did put out on Twitter that if anybody correctly predicted the score, we would give him a shout out. Nobody predicted 19-12.
If you predicted this, then damn, you better like play the lottery or do something, because that'd be pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. But no, it's not all on you, Rob. So I disagree on that.
Well, regardless, we'll be here with you. Like I said,
you're stuck with me. Okay.
Well, thank you. I'm going to go get a nice drink. I think we all deserve it after this victory. It is the season like I cannot remember in my entire life for many different reasons. But thank you, everybody. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll be here with you as many times as we can be this week. I'll follow me on Twitter at Stats on Fire. I'll tweet out what we're going to do show-wise. Levin, if you still want to do a show, we can do a show Wednesday night or Thursday. I'd love to do it.
Yep. I don't work for 12 days, so
let's go. Perfect time. So you're going to be off and rested for the conference championship game?
Yeah. So I would be due to go back Friday night for night shifts. And I don't like working night shifts in general.
Oh, that's
especially don't like working them in January. So like 3 months ago, I was like, you know what? I never use all my vacation because look, I work a rotational schedule. I have a week off built into my rotation. So I don't need to use my vacation to take a vacation because I can just plan it for that week off.
There you go.
And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm taking January nights off at the end of January. So I don't have to deal with the cold. I'll stay indoors. And then it just so happened that we got to the playoffs and I started looking at the schedule and looking at my schedule and looking, is there any instant reacts I might not be able to join? I was like, oh, well, I'm glad I took that weekend off.
Yeah. SLC Niner fan. My takeaways: Niners rule, secret elevators, cement block. SB Nation stinks, Cowboys stink. Now, SB Nation doesn't stink. Don't say that. There are a ton of good people at SB Nation grinding just like I did to provide you awesome coverage for your team. I mentioned Brandon Lee Gowden at Bleeding Green Nation, RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys, their Cowboys community there, killing it with what they provide for you. The decision to let me go was not, it was way, 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 way high up. There are a lot of really good people at SB Nation, so don't say that. I just wanted to put that out there.
A lot of podcasters were let go. It seemed like they certainly trimmed that. But that strikes me not as an SB Nation decision, but as a Fox Media decision. So
and those are high up.
That's the corporate part. Yeah.
So yeah. let's separate the two things. Jason Walsh says Gold Standard Podcast is the future. Hell yeah. Last thing.
The present too.
That's true.
Sucker.
Ian Healy, trade Dak is trending on Twitter right now. That's the perfect summary of the night.
That warms my heart more than this liquor does.
It's a damn shame, ain't it? Are you still drinking the Di Serono?
Got one sip left.
Oh, well, I'm going to go pour myself a nice old fashioned and celebrate in style the rest of the night. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back soon. I promise you. Follow me at Stats on Fire everywhere. Smash the like and
GS
subscribe
podcasts.
Button.
Follow. I guess I'm doing Takes by 11 now.
At Takes by 11 on Twitter. Much better Twitter handle than you used to have, by the way. We'll be live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, more and more. Keep your eye open. And as soon as we get anything definitive on anything, I promise you, we will share it with you. Enjoy your night, everybody.